Hey, what's up, you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you my review of Season 2 of Arrow on the CW. I reviewed Season 1 about 6 months or so ago, so if you missed that, you can go search it in my channel, or it's also available in my general reviews playlist on my page as well. So, I know it's been a while. I just got caught up in a lot of other shows, like Supernatural, Shameless, things like that, as well as the other stuff week to week I have to juggle that are airing new episodes I'm actually caught up on. But Arrow is something I did want to get back to eventually. And I admit, I got a few episodes into season 2, then I admit I did lose interest, and I kind of fell off the wagon a little bit. But about a week or so ago, my girlfriend told me she had an interest in watching the show, so I watched the pilot episode again with her, and it sort of rejuvenated my interest in it. And so I picked up where I left off in season 2, and I just finished it tonight, so I want to give you my thoughts on it. And overall, it was a really, really good season. I did really like season 1 when I first watched it, and I still kind of look back at it fondly right now too. But I think season 2 was even better. I had heard before I even started the show that season 2 is sort of the fan favorite season, and that's mainly because of course, Manu Bennett's Slade Wilson, or Deathstroke, and we'll talk more about him in a few minutes. But Arrow, I still really like it. I know in season 1 I was saying how I might even like it more than Daredevil or something. That's not true. I highly prefer Daredevil at this point for sure. But at the same time, they're very different styles of comic book shows or a series. So you don't need to compare them. You can enjoy them both. Whichever you prefer, that's fine. But you can still enjoy them both and not have flame wars with other keyboard warriors comparing them all the time either. I think they can both be enjoyed in their own right, in their own way. And I loved Arrow season 2 really. Why I sort of lost interest initially, though, a few episodes in, is just because I was kind of used to Daredevil at that point, so I wasn't really liking the more lightheartedness of it, or the more case of the week style of it. Eventually kind of put me off a little bit. Case of the weeks can often wear me down. Cases of the week, monster of the week, and stuff like that. Unless it's something like Supernatural. And Supernatural, they just have really, really strong characters. Sam and Dean and their story and the larger arc at play. You can sort of power through the monster stuff. And because of how fun Sam and Dean are as characters together, you can even enjoy them going after this one particular thing for an episode. And of course, Supernatural, they mix it in more with the main story as it goes. But we're not talking about Supernatural here. With Arrow, I think season 2 got better with sort of mixing in that case of the week with starting to build a larger story. I think season 2 is a little bit more successful at that than season 1 was, as much as I did like season 1. And as amazing as I thought the season 1 finale was, or the last few episodes or so, or from episode 15 or 16 of that season to the finale, as much as I like that, I have to say the last few episodes of season 2 got me even more excited when I was watching it. Of course, from all the the City of Fire. Let me just look at the episode titles. Of course, did I even show this yet? Yeah, I do have the season 2 Blu-ray. I'll probably be buying season 3 soon. But yeah, City of Blood. Yeah. From episode 18 all the way to the finale is just really, really good, and I loved the final 4 episodes or so. Of course, there's big spoiler warning in the title, but okay, spoiler warning here too. In episode 20, Seeing Red, of course, with Moira's death, that really catapulted things and really made it a special season, I think, for the show. Moira is a character I never really liked. I think the actress did well playing her, but I don't think anyone really loved Moira as a character or anything. but like I said, the actress did play her well, and it really did. It was pretty effective when you've seen like Oliver's reaction to it, of course, with Slade, impaling her with the sword and such, and Thea as well. Thea and Moira had been having problems all season. And of course, when Moira finally proves herself to be a little bit more on the selfless side of things and really care for her children, that's when Slade kills her. And with Slade, I haven't talked about him yet, but that's because he's the main thing I want to talk about. Even he's seen like Moira's like newfound courage and strength in what she was doing, and I appreciated that as well. So even though I didn't really like the Moira character, I think she was handled well in the end in a true and fitting way. And the highlight of this season was definitely Manu Bennett's Slade Wilson Deathstroke. I hear he's still the best villain on the show so far, and I can definitely see why Manu Bennett just did such a really good job in the role. I read an interview with him saying how he eventually didn't like the direction they took Deathstroke in, how he wanted it to be less about him picking apart Oliver's life and more about him being like this, of course, the Terminator, this unstoppable machine. So maybe it means like how he wish he didn't have to build the whole army, how maybe he wishes he would have, just been this unstoppable force more so on his own or something, which I can kind of get. Or how he more so wanted it to be less about sort of the relationship stuff, or less driven, or maybe more so not trying to pick apart Oliver's like family and lovers, but more about just going for Oliver. I don't know, but I probably explained that the wrong way, so don't quote me to Manu Bennett or anything like that. I doubt any of you will, but still don't. Because he's probably pretty terrifying in real life too. But yeah, I think he did a really good job acting-wise in the role. I know Joe Manganiello is playing Deathstroke in the Justice League movies, or at least in the DC cinematic universe, and he's probably going to be in the Batman solo movie. I meant to do a video on that, but I waited too long. I don't think he's going to do better than Manu Bennett, though. I just think Manu Bennett's definitely the version of Slade Wilson to me now, no question about it. I know. Even with Joe Manganiello, it'd only be 2 live-action versions anyway, as far as I know, but I can't see Manganiello topping Bennett at all. Even just the acting, I've seen Manganiello in other movies, and he's an okay action type of guy. I know he was in True Blood and stuff, but True Blood was and I just think from what I've seen anyway, Manu Bennett's able to portray emotions in a much more expressive and believable way, I think. And also I think he's maybe I don't know. Anyway, I don't want to get into a debate all about that though. But personally, again, I do understand Manu Bennett's feelings on the character's direction and such, but I personally liked how he handled it. I thought it made sense, of course, with the backstory with, the island and what happened with Shadow and Sarah and everything. I got it. Drive anyone to that point, I think, potentially, one bad day away from being me, right? But I really do like how they handled him, I like how he sort of had the advantage over Oliver almost the entire season. I thought that really played on Slade's intelligence really well. And of course I always loved seeing him in the flashbacks ever since season 1 as well. And the fact that him and Oliver were actually friends at one point, or almost brothers, it really made it all the more special. I think it made it feel all the more personal. So I do like the direction they did decide to go in personally. I like how they handled it. It's unfortunate if we never see him again on the show. Although I do know he shows up at least in one episode in season 3, and I heard a major spoiler on a certain someone he goes after. But I hope they have him again in the show after that. I haven't heard that. I don't think they have. But I can't see any other villain in Arrow ever topping Slade Wilson for sure. So I love Slade this season. The other highlight for me was also Caity Lotz as Sarah Lance, or Black Canary, eventually White Canary and such. I really, really liked her a lot more than I expected to. I know Sarah was played by a different actress in the pilot and the flashbacks and stuff. But I guess like initially, of course, when Arrow started, they weren't like totally sure. It wasn't like a sure thing that was going to go on, to season 5 like it is right now and stuff like that. So the original actress didn't invest as much in it. So of course, when season 2 came around and the writers decided to make Sarah more of a factor in the story again, and bring her back, they had to recast her. And at first that sounds pretty iffy and such, but I think Caity Lotz just excels in the role so much. I think she is actually a stronger actress than the one they initially got from what I've seen of both of them. I'm even kind of intrigued to see some of Caity Lotz's movies she's done, like The Machine with Toby Stephens. Toby Stephens, of course, plays Captain Flint on Black Sails, another great show. Very different show, but a great show. And she's also done a couple of horror movies I'm kind of interested in seeing as well. But I think she's a really good actress, and I love the dynamic and chemistry between her and Stephen Amell as Oliver, of course. I just thought their stories sounded really well, both in the present and the flashbacks. And I like some of the Diggle stuff this season too. With him and his ex-wife and such. Diggle, I think, is a very likable character. And then he also had some drama with Thea and Roy, and I want to like Roy because him eventually becoming like the Red Arrow and such. And they really played on that towards the end of the season when Oliver finally lets him put on the mask and such. But I thought the back and forth between Thea and Roy this season, it got a little bit repetitive. I thought a little. And then with Felicity and Oliver, Olicity or whatever you want to call them, it hasn't actually happened yet. I'm guessing it probably happens sometime in season 3. But of course, I've heard all the complaints about it and stuff like that. It's just kind of hard to avoid that on the internet. My stance on Felicity right now, I like her, but I can definitely see how she could be frustrating if she's given a bigger role. And as far as the idea of a romance between her and Oliver goes, from my perspective right now, I don't know, I get it, but I don't. I want to buy into it just because of how much I like Stephen Amell's Oliver, and I want to believe in what he wants and such. But it's kind of obvious that it is kind of fan service at the time that they're making it happen at this point. And I think Felicity is a fun character to have around, but she sort of feels like more of a supporting type of character, to be honest. And I think it would have been better if they had kept Felicity as sort of that sidekick to Oliver, or maybe at most, more of like a kid sister to him. I think another little sister. I think that would actually make more sense with how they both are as people, and keep Oliver, with someone like Sarah or even Laurel, to an extent. But I just think Oliver and Felicity kind of work together a little bit better as a brother-sister type of thing, not really romantic. But we'll see how they do in season 3, right? Although I've heard terrible things. But that stuff's okay. Felicity's a fun character right now, anyway. But I will admit, as I noted, some of her screams, for some reason, it's a little I don't know. I almost think Felicity and Diggle would make more sense together. I don't know. But enough. We're not going to waste a little bit of talking about Felicity and Oliver right now. But let's see what else. Laurel, she had an okay direction this season. And to be honest, it was still a really good season, but that was mostly because of the Oliver and Slade story and such. That really made it. If it had been like any other villain, it probably wouldn't have been as grand. I probably wouldn't have liked it as much. But because of how well the Deathstroke and Arrow thing worked, it definitely makes it something on its own. But Laurel's direction, I thought it was okay. It wasn't as annoying to me as the Thea and Roy stuff. But of course, Laurel ends up drinking herself, into being an alcoholic, and she has some other substance problems as well. I still do like Katie Cassidy as an actress, though. Ever since I seen her in the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, I think she's a pretty good actress, and I also just seen her in Supernatural season 3 as Ruby, and I liked her quite a bit there too. Yeah, she had a good direction. It kind of made sense for her, I guess, and with Sarah returning, that really made it. I think that made the story sort of flicker a little bit more. I think with on her end anyway. Although when she was telling Sarah how she was drowning in these black waters too, I get the metaphorical meaning of what she was trying to say with that in one of the episodes, but I don't know, it just felt weird trying to compare like her mental turmoil, which kind of makes sense. We all go through things like that. A lot of us do. But with Sarah, she went through that mental trauma and physical hell as well, combined with mental hell. So I kind of dislike how Laurel often tries to put herself on the same level of pain as others have been through. And she says she's not trying to do that, but she kind of is. It's weird. Still like the actress quite a bit, though. And I also like the Helena episode, of course, with Jessica DeGao, returning for an episode as Helena. I still always like the character dynamic with her and Oliver, and I really like Jessica DeGao, of course. That's probably partially because I'm nostalgic of her time on Dracula, which, of course, Dracula is a show I wish was never canceled. I don't want to get into that right now, but she's always a treat to have on the show, I think. Like I said, Moira's death is handled really well. And I love the final fight between Oliver and Slade in the finale. Of course, with Slade, trying to keep to his promise of, killing everyone Oliver loves, especially the one he loves the most. And I like how Ollie is able to sort of trick him at the end. Slade had planted little cameras all around the Queen Mansion a little bit earlier in the season when he had started acting like he was going to be a partner with Moira, who was running for mayor at the time. But I like that it made sense Oliver would kind of see those at some point, with as trained and as like aware of his surroundings as he's supposed to be at this point. And then he and Felicity sort of end up setting Slade up with that, with Oliver, in front of the camera telling Felicity that she's the one he loves. And this is later able to give Felicity the chance to inject Slade with the cure, with a Mirakuru and such. And to make him actually somewhat beatable, or at least on an even playing field with Oliver. And I really like Slade's descent into madness, as was shown through the flashbacks all throughout season 1 and 2. Although I do wish, like in the present day, I wish we could have been able to see more inner conflict with him again. I know he always had like a Shadow in his head and stuff, and Shadow, of course, never would have wanted any of this. I really liked her character too. Well, of course, Slade, channeled that anger into a hallucination of Shadow he would always see, and that part of his mind would be telling him what to do through that image. I do wish we would have seen Slade struggle with that a little bit more, but I still did feel for him. I understood his perspective and such, and Oliver did too. But of course, with the Mirakuru, although Slade denied it when he was cured, that's not what made Slade hate him. And of course, he probably did. Probably would hold a lot of hate against Oliver after the choice that Oliver made to save Sarah over Shadow. But of course, that was an impossible situation. Not much was going to go right there. But of course, a majority of it was because the Mirakuru did Slade's mind and how it corrupted it, and how long he was on it too. You got to factor that in as well. And I know Deathstroke in the comics, he's always mostly a villain, once in a while an anti-hero. And I think they did plan that fairly well, although, again, I just wish we would have seen a little bit more of that good side of Slade again somehow. I don't know. I just really like the character, too. I would even watch probably a spin-off for him. And as far as, like, the design for the costume and the main armor he wore in the present day, I thought it was okay. I appreciate the design for it and such, although it does look a little bit too like paddy and bulky, I think. I wish it looked more like armor than it did, really. But again, you gotta think of the budget the CW gives the show and such, so you don't have to compare it to what Slade's gonna look like in the movies or anything. So I thought all that was great, and the Sebastian Blood stuff this season I thought was okay. The politics of that and such, as he is basically just a servant to Slade the whole time. Although he does sort of try to turn on him at the end, and Slade ends up killing him anyway, which is pretty fun. I thought the Blood character was okay. He was an okay villain. And like I said, I love the final few episodes of the season, especially when Slade does send out his army and it's like chaos all over the city for the last 2 episodes. It's really awesome. A lot of fun fight scenes, just really action packed. I enjoyed the hell out of it. But yeah, I really enjoyed Arrow season 2. I think it's definitely the best so far. As much as I like season 1, I think season 2 is even better. And why the hell isn't Sarah on the cover? I really love Sarah as well. I want to emphasize that. And I know where a character goes in season 3 early on, but I just want to say I really love the character. I know she's involved with Legends of Tomorrow and such, and I was never too interested in watching that show, but now that I've seen how much I like Sarah, I might kind of give that a look at some point too. It's even to the point where I'm actually planning on buying a figure of Sarah in her Black Canary costume. I think that'll look really cool next to my Arrow one I did a review on a while ago. So yeah, I really love Sarah too. Caity Lotz did such a fantastic job. I love her. But yeah, overall, I really liked Arrow season 2, minus a couple, a handful of minor gripes throughout. I think it was really good. I loved all the Slade and Sarah stuff, and I'm pretty eager to watch season 3, honestly. So yeah, let me know what you guys thought about season 2, everything with Slade and Sarah and such. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.